This is a former major in the British Army. He's well respected. He's part of the intelligence corps. He's called out the royal couple, labeling them as narcissists.
Now, these are fighting words, Hannah. It's really kind of rough, but here's the deal. These veterans are actually pretty annoyed with Harry and with Meghan. You know, Harry started Invictus in 2014 with the help of the Prince's Trust, which he and his brother William ran together at the time. And at first it was really great. It was really all about the veterans, and that's it. He was very hands-on. And then there came Megxit, and he became less hands-on.
We're hearing that Meghan won't be at Invictus 2027 because Harry sees that she's toxic for his brand. And when we look at him, we see this bitter, petty prince, and the only way that he can potentially escape that is to be seen with her less and to be seen copying his mother, I guess, more often than we see them complaining.
Isn't it? The two of them are just constantly in Diana cosplay. It's like, this is Freudian and weird.
The Invictus Games themselves, what do they mean to Prince Harry?
Well, the Invictus Games, well, it's Prince Harry's baby. This is a deeply personal project for him.
Why don't we just rename the Invictus Games the Me games? Everything's totally fine with our marriage, folks.
And it looks sort of like she's, I'm sure, clinging and like overwhelming him and everything. And she must be stifling. She needs so much attention. And the sad thing is because she demands so much attention of him, the less he spends with the competitors, with their families, encouraging them, because he must focus on her at all times.
Now, Meghan has been pictured by the paparazzi whizzing around in her Range Rover while Harry is away in Germany to promote their Invictus Games. Now, some uncharitable souls have suggested here that this is Meghan's way of getting some of that spotlight because she doesn't like it when it's just Harry getting the attention. Surely that's not the case. Surely, Kinsey.
Sure. No, she would never do such a thing. No, I mean, I do think that she was a working member of the royal family long enough to know that she should be laying low right now for Prince Harry to have the spotlight. Rita, this is the only legitimate project that Prince Harry has, the Invictus Games, the only thing that from start to finish is considered a success that people admire. It's a little off. It makes you wonder if there's any method to the madness, because all eyes should be on Harry, because I just think that right now their brand is a mess, and it's the one thing they've got going for them that makes sense.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle facing criticism as members of the Invictus Games Foundation reveal a growing frustration with the royal couple.
And a lot of people are really starting to feel like they're kind of being used for good PR.
So Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the couple who once strutted around Hollywood like they were rewriting the definition of service, are now being dragged by the very veterans that Harry once swore to honor. And it's not polite dragging, it's scorched-earth battle-hardened. You've used us for PR and we're done kind of dragging. Think about that for a second. Harry built his entire post-royal image on Invictus Games, telling the world he was the soldier's prince, the veteran's champion, the guy who got it. But fast forward to today and you've got battle-scarred vets, people who've literally walked through fire, saying they feel like props in Meghan and Harry's ongoing Netflix audition. That's not just bad optics, that's catastrophic.
The Invictus Games are dead, and Harry and Meghan killed them. Yes, it's insane how bad it is, especially regarding Meghan Markle's appearance. She is completely stealing the show. Her fashion displays, her PDA with Harry, it's insanely bad.
And here's the kicker. The cracks don't stop at Invictus. Every single charity Harry touches seems to implode. Sentebale, chaos. Africa Parks, scandal. Archewell, embarrassment. Harry keeps claiming he's dedicating his life to charity, but the pattern is clear. The charities dedicate their reputations to Harry and Meghan, and in return, they get blown to pieces. Now, what I'm about to break down isn't just a few bad headlines. It's a pattern of hypocrisy, self-interest, and Hollywood spin that's turning the once royal rebels into global punchlines. It started with a single tweet from Major Edward Fortescue, a respected former British Army intelligence officer, and it hit like a bombshell. He called out Harry and Meghan as grotesque, desperate applause seekers, saying veterans are utterly done with the couple. Done, finished, and out.
It is. So this week on Twitter, Edward Fortescue, who's a former major, as you mentioned, came out lambasting the couple. And I get it. Here's what he said. He said, the wounded veterans of Invictus are done, utterly and irrevocably done with Harry and his wife. They've seen war, they've faced death, they've dragged their broken bodies through fire and blood, and now they are expected to play supporting roles in the grotesque theater of two narcissists desperate for applause.
And the quote that's been ricocheting through the internet, veterans have dragged their broken bodies from fire, literally surviving war zones, only to be paraded around as props while Harry and Meghan swoop in for applause. That's not criticism. That's a eulogy for Harry's credibility. Over 2,000 Invictus members have reportedly walked away in the past 2 years, not because they don't believe in the games, but because they don't believe in Harry. Imagine that. Veterans, the very foundation of Harry's cause, quitting because they feel like extras in a Netflix B-reel.
You know, they don't really see him. They don't understand what the projects are doing right now. And they're saying, you know what? Once or twice a year, he and Meghan, or he, Prince Harry, flies in alone and swoops in to be like, these are the games, and get really great PR. And they're kind of annoyed. So other papers have reported that in the last 2 years, over 2,000 members of the Invictus Games have quit.
But of course, Harry doesn't see the problem. He still shows up like the star player, flies in on a private jet, hugs a few cameras, flashes that "I'm still a prince" grin, and then jets out again. Meanwhile, Meghan floats in like she's hosting the Oscars, dripping in designer labels while veterans sit wondering if they're just unpaid background actors.
And they're all in a dittery about that because absolutely they don't want that. They don't want him to take the stage and to be on the front pages. And so she's meeting him in Germany. And people there a lot of people are telling me that they're trying to get enough people to say that they don't want her there because she's going to speak about courage and resilience. Okay. I don't think it's quite opportune that somebody who doesn't really have many courage and resilient problems and goes around with a calming badge on her arm.
The stress patch.
And these people are ex-soldiers who have had terrible injuries, both mental and physical. And they also are very cross that they're going to use them as publicity for themselves.
And you know what? They're right. This is what Invictus has become. Not a competition, not a celebration of survival, but a glossy PR stunt where the veterans are props and the Sussexes are the headliners. But if you think Invictus is the only dumpster fire, wait until you hear what happened to Sentebale. Back in 2006, Harry co-founded Sentebale with Prince Seiso in Lesotho. On paper, it was noble, helping vulnerable kids. But like every Sussex project, the nobility didn't last long. Harry managed to get into a public, messy fight with the charities chairwoman. And when I say messy, I mean school cafeteria, food fight levels of messy. The argument spilled into the press, board members started fleeing, and suddenly the charity Harry co-founded became a soap opera headline.
Well, you have Sentebale, the charity he co-founded with Prince Seiso in Lesotho, and that, as we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, kind of went downhill. He had a fight with the chairwoman. It became public, and he quit the charity along with a bunch of board members. And just last week, the UK Charity Commission kind of blamed both sides, both Harry and the charity chairwoman, Sophie Chandaka, for bringing this fight public. Now, they did clear Harry of bullying.
The UK Charity Commission even had to step in. Their verdict? Both sides were to blame. Think about that. Charities are supposed to be about selflessness and service. Instead, Harry turned it into Jerry Springer. He wasn't cleared of drama. He was just barely cleared of bullying allegations. That's not exoneration. That's a participation trophy. So now Sentebale, the legacy Harry once touted as proof that he was more than a royal, is remembered as yet another stage where his ego came first. But Sentebale was just the warm-up act. The real scandal was waiting for him in Africa Parks. Harry loves to remind everyone that he found himself in Africa. He loves the photo ops, khakis, boots, standing in front of elephants like he's Simba from The Lion King. But behind the photo shoots, Africa Parks, where Harry proudly sits on the board, was linked to forced evictions of locals in the Central African Republic.
However, that's one charity. The next charity is Africa Parks. He's on the board of Africa Parks. He loves Africa Parks. And, you know, last month it came out that Africa Parks employees in the Congo and Central African Republic had been locals. So this is not a good look.
But because it's such a gentle topic, I'm not going to give my opinion on it. I'll just regurgitate the story that there was an investigation by the Mail on Sunday, and they do say that they discovered deeply disturbing accusations of violence, rape, and torture of Indigenous people in rainforests of the Republic of Congo, by guards managed and paid for by the African Parks charity. Now, Prince Harry was its president.
Let's pause here. Forced evictions. While Harry lectures the world about compassion, while Meghan gives speeches about inclusivity, their board is tangled in accusations of kicking locals off their land. Do you think Harry ever addressed it? Of course not. He probably skimmed the headlines, muttered yikes, and went back to posing in front of rhinos. It's the Sussex pattern. Sign on to a cause, milk the headlines, vanish when the controversy hits. And the irony? Harry wanted Africa Parks to be his big legacy. Instead, it's another charity black eye that makes him look like a hypocrite. But wait, it gets even worse when we get to Archewell. Oh, Archewell, the Sussexes' pride and joy. The shiny nonprofit they hold up as proof they're modern saints. Except the halo slipped when reports surfaced that Archewell gave over $50,000 to a woman accused of being anti-Israel and possibly anti-Semitic.
And then, of course, there's Archewell, his own charity, which I exclusively broke the news that Archewell had not researched the people that they were giving money to properly. And they had given over $50,000 to a woman who really is anti-Israel and, some say is anti-Semitic. So there's been a lot of problems of him wanting to dedicate his life to charity, but having some issues.
And, it's troublesome that it's more than one charity.
This wasn't just a small slip-up. It was proof that Archewell doesn't even do basic research on where its money goes. Imagine being so careless with donations that you accidentally bankroll controversy. Either they didn't know, which makes them incompetent, or they didn't care, which makes them reckless. And here's the kicker. Meghan and Harry love talking about fighting hate, yet their own charity's cash went straight into the pockets of someone spewing hate. You couldn't script hypocrisy better if you tried.
The entitlement, the virtue signaling, the hypocrisy, all of it is encapsulated in these two.
Archewell was supposed to be their redemption arc. Instead, it's the punchline at charity galas. Donate to Archewell. You never know which scandal you'll accidentally fund next. And yet, despite all this, Harry still tries to brand himself as Mr. Charity, which begs the question, why do they keep blowing up every organization they touch? Here's the dirty truth. Charity has never been about service for Harry and Meghan. It's always been about PR. Invictus Games, a photo backdrop, Sentebale, a talking point, Africa Parks, a safari photo shoot, Archewell, a brand name. Not to mention Harry even took off on Meghan and went missing for 3 days in Africa with his phone off, knowing Meghan had no other way to contact him.
Growing fears for Prince Harry after he went missing in Africa for 3 days, completely out of contact with his wife Meghan Markle and children in order to spend time with this woman, TJ Evans, who is described as a mother-like figure. Now, this is a truly bizarre story. It has been linked to the Sussexes' new Omid Scobie figure, Charlotte Griffiths, who's trying to say that this is all so brilliant. But of course, it flies in the face of everything that Harry has said previously about his need to keep in constant contact with Meghan, constant contact with the kids. And we know that this is the guy, let's be honest, in the midst of one heck of a breakdown.
That doesn't sound like charity work. That sounds like what some boys do when they want to have fun partying with other women behind their girlfriend's back. Veterans and insiders aren't stupid. They see through the stage speeches, the designer outfits, the carefully lit Instagram posts. They see that Harry and Meghan don't show up unless cameras are rolling. And what's the result? A complete collapse of trust. The veterans don't trust them. The boards don't trust them. Even donors are starting to whisper about pulling back. When charity becomes theater, eventually the audience leaves. Harry and Meghan wanted to rebrand as global saviors. Instead, they've rebranded as global opportunists. And the scariest part, they don't even seem to realize it. So let's tally this up. Veterans walking out, Invictus crumbling, Sentebale in shambles, Africa Parks in scandal, Archewell handing out checks like confetti without knowing who's cashing them. This isn't an unlucky streak. This is a pattern of self-interest, ego, and reckless PR. Harry and Meghan don't build, they burn. They don't honor causes. They exploit them. And every time the spotlight dims, another scandal creeps in to remind the world exactly who they are. So the real real question isn't whether Harry and Meghan can salvage their reputations. The real question is, has the public already figured them out? Have the masks slipped too far to ever go back on? Because one thing's for sure, if veterans, the very people Harry built his brand on, are saying they're done with him, then maybe the world's finally done too. And when that happens, not even Meghan's best PR tricks will save them. All right, now I want to hear from you. Do you think Harry and Meghan are genuinely trying to help people, or are they just using charities as their personal PR machine? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't hold back. I'm reading every single one. And if you're loving these deep dives into the scandals the mainstream media won't touch, make sure you hit that like button, smash subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss the next breakdown. Because trust me, the drama with Harry and Meghan, it's only getting messier from here. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed my content, feel free to check out some of my other videos on the top of the screen. Until next time, stay tuned, stay safe, and stay informed. Only on Tea Time with Tina.